Alright, time for Gartic Phone. Uh. Hmm. Oh, is there a bucket? No. Okay, at least I had the decency to add Control Z. Now we wait.
And rewards for all the Club Penguin soon-to-be ninjas. One thing that was especially interesting was the amulet. Originally released in 2009 along with Card-Jitsu Fire, you can see clearly it has 3 main slots, one for each of the game's elements, and as you master the corresponding minigames, you are awarded gems that are featured on the amulet. However, there is one gem that's already there, and with its piercing black color and ominous shape, fans couldn't help but think that it represented a mysterious 4th element that would get its own Card-Jitsu game. But was it all just a coincidence? Well, I would say so. Frankly, I think the middle gem originally existed to represent the main game, with its elementally neutral gray and black color. And remember, in order to get the amulet in the first place, you have to become a black belt, meaning by the time you already get it, you've already mastered one of the Card-Jitsu games. That's why you already have a gem. It's for the original one. However, despite all this, the gem was a point of major fan curiosity, and it wasn't long until everyone started speculating. Card-Jitsu Shadow caused a lot of buzz among the fans, and it wasn't long until the developers took notice. In 2011, they added a bunch of unobtainable items to the game. They added 4 clothing items that made up the Shadow Ninja outfit, and I think I can pretty confidently say that this stands up among this mother poster and this SpongeBob Squid Game fan art as one of the hardest images ever made. Like, holy crap, it looks fantastic. So, is it a done deal? Card-Jitsu Shadow confirmed? Well, yes and no. First of all, the items were added in June of 2011. Card-Jitsu Water had only come out a few months earlier, and Card-Jitsu Snow wouldn't be out for another couple of years. According to Polo Field on Twitter, it was just made as a concept for a potential mobile game. But it was there, and it had awesome animations. They even made a bunch of Card-Jitsu cards that hinted at it, along with a power card that literally featured a Shadow Ninja. Frankly, if Club Penguin had lasted longer, Card-Jitsu Shadow would have been inevitable. We've seen before how Club Penguin would often draw from fan rumors for new material, and they already seem to be in the process of making it, at least the early stages. They hinted at it several times over the years, and developers of the game were pretty open about liking the idea of making it. However, as we know, Disney pulled the plug before it ever got to become a reality. So yeah, Card-Jitsu Shadow, the Club Penguin minigame that could have been. This specifically was really fun for me to learn about, because by the time this rumor really began to take form, I had already kind of stopped playing the game. So reading about all of this after the fact was super cool. Oh, this is the big one. Frankly, unless you've never played Club Penguin before and are only watching this video for, like, my personality or something, you definitely know about this. The iceberg was always a mysterious area. Even though basically everyone knew about it, it was kind of hidden from the rest of the game. I mean, you couldn't just walk to it like most other in-game areas, and it wouldn't pop up when you moused over it unlike every other location. Well, the dojo and mine shack used to be hidden this way too, but eventually they would be linked up with the rest of the island. The iceberg, though, it was always a little bit hidden. And frankly, no offense, but the dojo and mine shack used to be hidden this way too, but eventually they would be linked up with the rest of the island. The iceberg, though, it was always a little bit hidden. And frankly, no offense, but the very few people who didn't actually know the iceberg existed weren't really missing out on much. I mean, there was Aqua Grabber, but that was only added into the game after.
Hidden among us. Press done.
There was Aqua Grabber, but that was only added into the game after a few years. Before that, it was just an empty, mysterious sheet of ice. And I don't know what sparked the rumor, but it wasn't too long in the game's life cycle people were wondering if it was possible to tip the thing over. Maybe it's because it looks really flat. Based on the black lines that define the bottom of the unsubmerged part of the body, it looks like the iceberg is a really thin structure, which is not like how icebergs are actually shaped in real life. You guys can trust me on that, by the way. I have a lot of experience with icebergs. I guess you could argue that the lighter colors here are supposed to show that. Submerged ice, but honestly, that always looked more like a reflection or something to me. In its early years, there was a lot of debate among young fans of the game on whether you could do such a thing. Usually, people would say that the iceberg would tip over if you had a certain amount of penguins dancing on or drilling into it. And of course, some people would claim that they did, only to either provide falsified evidence or no evidence at all.
You really think someone would do that? Just go on the internet and tell lies?
It seems some people believe that if you actually successfully tip the iceberg, you get a prize along the lines of 5,000 coins. This guy says you could get a golden puffle.
Just go on the internet.
Wait, is there any reason to try to replicate it? Oh, there's the bucket. What is there?
Guy says you could get a golden puffle.
Just go on the internet and tell lies?
But what was really funny is that there were also people claiming it was possible, but that if you did it, you would get banned from the game.
I'll just draw Among Us this. Is it? There's no. I'm just gonna draw Among Us this because there's no. Yes, I'm sure someone's trying to create that psychedelic nightmare.
From the game, or your penguin would die or something. There was actually this one time I was playing the game and I saw a bunch of people trying to tip the iceberg. I decided to get my hard hat and join in on the effort, but then I started thinking about the possibility that I might get banned if we ended up doing it. So I logged off the game out of fear. I was an anxious kid. I also just
There, I did it too. So King Clay. Comments do not approve. Oh no. No, let me guess. I'm gonna ruin it because, I'm gonna ruin it because I didn't know how to make it blank. There comes the lights. Again, there is empty. There is Clay, empty. Okay. There is me, Among Us. Ding, 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 ding. Question: where did my original Among Us go? I want to see that now. I just forced people to draw Among Us. The little bird and it's me, Mario.
I also
Among Us, an Among Us, sing buffalo, ooh buffalo, 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 time. During no, not November. No, it's not during no, not November.
I also just love the idea that if you tip the iceberg, you would get banned. Like, that's so funny to me. Obviously, it wasn't true, but the idea that the Club Penguin developers would fully implement this secret animated in-game feature and then ban players for activating it is just hilarious to me. I think the rumor started to lose its traction as something people seriously believed around 2010 or 2011, but that didn't mean it was forgotten. The Club Penguin developers were always pretty discreet with how they interacted with the community, but even they were willing to acknowledge it here and there, just to add a little fuel to the fire. However, it was always a hoax. Well, until the final Club Penguin party, that is. In late January 2017, the Water Lawn Party began, and with it came the ability for penguins to finally tip the iceberg. Together, we could build an island, create a community, change the world, and even tip an iceberg. It also closed down our beloved Flash game for a 3D bubble replacement that does so badly it's canned in less than 2 years.
Spelled out in an Amogus. What's spelled out in an Amogus? It is.
You know, even with all the unfortunate realities that came with Club Penguin coming to an end the way it did, at the very least, one of the most long-standing...
Firefly waving at the court. I don't know what this drawing is, but
long-standing community urban legends in the game was able to be truly implemented in a wonderful way, and I think that's really awesome. Thanks for watching. I originally meant for this video to be a bit shorter, but I guess
Prøv nye Philips OneBlade med 360 barberblad. Trim, style og barber med ett verktøy. Nytt fleksibelt 360-blad for
Have you ever been programming in C++ and just thought to yourself, man, this language is good and all, but I think it would be way better if it had more ponies. Like, at least 20% more ponies. If the answer to that question is yes, then you're gonna love what I have to show you today. Introducing FIM++, the programming language with ponies. Finally, something for us programmers. Now, if you don't know what an esoteric programming language is, it's basically a programming language that is made outside of what we see as typical boundaries and design expectations for a normal programming workflow. They can be made as a proof of concept, as an artistic statement, or just as a joke. In a nutshell, they are programming languages that are designed without usability or practicality in mind. So, you know, languages like P, Brainfuck, Whitespace, and PHP. FIM++, as we have established, is an esoteric programming language that seeks to merge the world of programming.
Amogus. Dang! Amogus with SWAT spelled in it.
With the world of ponies. And it all started with an Equestria Daily post by a user named Serial Velocity. I was made aware of the supposed existence of a pony programming language by a friend of mine at He said he found it on Reddit, but after many Google searches, I was only able to find a barren, empty Google code repository with no details or implementations. I was deeply disappointed for a few minutes before I realized I could write the damn thing myself. It probably wouldn't be good, complete, or usable in the sense that anyone could write an interpreter for it, but I felt like validating my in-progress degree to some extent. I am also a fan of jokes that go on for far too long. As am I, Mr. Serial Velocity. After the introduction, Serial Velocity goes on to specify his desired syntax for the language, and within just a month, a bunch of devoted pony programmers set the whole thing up for all of us to enjoy. Celestia bless them. Now, it's time to address the elephant in the room, or the horse in the room. How would you even add ponies to programming?
Not what I had in mind. I'm... I had to show my masterpiece. That is the best. Discard mod. Discard mod would go. A discard mod would just be a circle. What the fuck? I don't get it. Why is it empty? Like penguin. By just having an unintelligible, I just made by having a sort of intelligible but unintelligible little description. That just sparked creativity. Yeah, they're meant to be round off knife cutting baby dinosaurs. So I was like, yeah. Two things holding up rolling paper. Oh, this is hilarious. Is the Gartic phone done yet? It's the Gartic phone. Are you done with this? Yes, I cannot record. Wait, this is starting to get the length of a SWAT event. How long we are approaching 20 or approaching 30 minutes. Buffalo, 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 in a mogus, during, during not November, during not November. I missed it. That's the most popular sentences in existence.
Ponies to programming. Well, in order to achieve a feat like that, we kind of have to rethink how we read and write programs. We have to overcome our prior expectations about how a program.
The Amogus Rex.
How we read and write programs. We have to overcome our prior expectations about how a programming language's syntax should be designed, because everything we've come to know is being thrown out. We're making it disappear, like the Pinkie Pie clones that Twilight zapped from existence in Too Many Pinkie Pies. In order to turn programming into a pony-positive experience, FIM++ seeks to make programs resemble the letters to Princess Celestia written by Twilight Sparkle and her friends. At the end of a lot of episodes, especially the early ones, one of the characters would narrate a written letter to Princess Celestia documenting what they've learned about friendship. It served both as a way to recap the events of the episode and also demonstrate its moral. FIM++'s entire syntax is made to resemble one of the letters written to the princess. I mean, you literally start new classes by addressing it to Princess Celestia, or any other princess of your choice. Now, I'm sure you're all thinking, Switchy, this looks awesome! As a pony programmer myself, I am ecstatic to program in FIM++. How can I get this awesome language working on my machine? Well, you need to get a special FIM++ interpreter. Duh. You can find a list of interpreters on the 60-page FIM++ community wiki, but the only one that seems to still be maintained is the FIM Sharp interpreter, which, if you can't tell by its name, is based in C#. It's a pretty quick download, and it's completely portable, so you can basically put it anywhere you want. But personally, I put it among my system path environment variables so I could interpret an FIM++ program anywhere I want on my computer without having to navigate to its home directory. And trust me, interpreting any FIM file wherever I want in the command line makes me feel like a freaking genius. If downloading it on your machine seems like too much work,
School getting shut up. Is someone getting shot outside?
there also is an online interpreter you can use if you want, but I'll stick to Atom and Windows PowerShell personally. So let's start with a very basic program. The program that creates the user. FIM++ is kind of like Java or C# and it's everything is a class thing. So to create a program, we first need to address the letter to someone and give the letter a topic. This is basically the exact same thing as declaring a main class in Java or a namespace in C# to hold your program.
Dear Princess Celestia, hello world.
In the letter, we have to define a main function or otherwise our program wouldn't know where to start. In order to do that, we have to type something along the lines of, "Today I learned how to say hello world." The I learned keyword is used to tell the interpreter that we are starting a function, and the today keyword specifies that this is the main function. Everything between I learned and the exclamation point is the function's name. You know, honestly, this is less annoying to type than the Java main function boilerplate.
Public static void main string args.
In the body of the function, we can print something to the standard output. In between I learned and the exclamation point is the function's name. You know, honestly, this is less annoying to type than the Java main function boilerplate.
Public static void main string args.
In the body of the function, we can print something to the standard output by typing that we said something, as if Twilight Sparkle was recounting a conversation she had had in the letter. To end the function, we say, "That's all about," and then the function name. To finish the program, we give a complementary closer with the writer's name, in this case Twilight Sparkle. But if you want, you can name it anything. While we're at it, let's not do this Hello World BS. We're not normal programmers. We're pony programmers. We're the programming ponies every pony should know. That's much better. And there we go, our first FIM++ program, done and dusted. Sadly, our finished program file doesn't look super pretty or readable, because for some reason, Atom doesn't have native syntax highlighting for FIM++ files. Psh, ridiculous. Well, I suppose that's just life for us pony programmers. As a slightly more complicated exercise, we can make a calculator that takes two numbers from the user and adds them together. Unfortunately, FIM++ doesn't support command line arguments, because, according to Serial Velocity, letters do not have a command line, so that would be silly. Instead, we'll ask the user for the numbers in the program itself. As you can see here, I'm declaring variables that use names from the ponies in the show. It's not exactly best practice to name things this way in a boring language like Java or whatever. As you can see here, I'm declaring variables that use names from the ponies in the show. It's not exactly best practice to name things this way in a boring language like Java or whatever, but for us pony programmers, this is an important tradition. One thing of interest is that there are a lot of different ways to assign a value. For the first value, I'm assigning it with the word likes, and for the second value, I'm using the word is. FIM++ has a lot of different reserved words.
Potatoes surrounded by number. In Mogus.
Words that do the exact same thing, unlike other languages. After all, it seeks to resemble actual human speaking patterns, or pony speaking patterns, and there's often a lot of different words that can be used to communicate one core message. It may seem a bit silly, but the fact that you can write things in so many different ways makes it seem a lot less overtly repetitive or robotic than most other languages. That being said, you're definitely going to have a tab open with the language specs, because it can get pretty complicated, and even for a program this simple, I had to use it as a reference more than once. In order to retrieve input from the user and store it in a variable, we have to say that we asked that variable followed by a string of what the console will prompt the user with.
I asked Rarity, what is your first number? I asked Fluttershy, what is your second number?
I can't help but imagine Twilight reminiscing over a point in that day where she asked Rarity and Fluttershy for numbers she could add together. It's funny. After that, I store the sum of Rarity and Fluttershy in a new variable, Rainbow Dash, and then I print it out using the I sang phrase. Sadly though, once string concatenation is thrown into our pony programs, that's when FIM++ stops being super pretty. I originally tried printing the output without the Rainbow Dash variable, but the interpreter would get confused when I tried to combine strings and then add numbers in the same line, I think. It's a bit of a shame, but honestly, I can kind of understand why. This language's syntax is incredibly flexible most of the time, supporting things like multi-word variable names and stuff. And because of that, sometimes you have to break things down instead of stuffing individual lines full of logic. Frankly, this language in itself is a really cool feat. In order for its syntax to even work, you could argue that the interpreter is basically implementing some simple natural language processing to parse the FIM code in its system for punctuation and stop words. It's kind of cool, actually. The string concatenation got pretty annoying.
Yes, the Mogosaurus.
Trying to write a FizzBuzz program. Yeah, you know, FizzBuzz and FIM+ natural language processing to parse the FIM code in its system for punctuation and stop words. It's kind of cool, actually. The string concatenation got pretty annoying, though, when I was trying to write a FizzBuzz program. Yeah, you know, FizzBuzz and FIM++. Imagine popping that out during a job interview. Just make sure the guy is brony first. Cool, actually. The string concatenation got pretty annoying. For its syntax to even work, you could argue that the interpreter is basically implementing some simple natural language processing to parse the FIM code in its system for punctuation and stop words. It's kind of cool, actually. The string concatenation got pretty annoying, though, when I was trying to write a FizzBuzz program. Yeah, you know, FizzBuzz and FIM++. Imagine popping that out during a job interview. Just make sure the guy is brony first. For those of you who don't know, FizzBuzz is a common programming test given in the professional environment. The basic task is to create a program that prints a bunch of sequential integers and replaces them with fizz if they're divisible by 3, buzz if they're divisible by 5, and fizzbuzz if they're divisible by both. I couldn't find any information on if-else statements when doing research on the language, so instead I decided to do it by checking if a number was divisible by 3 and then 5, and concatenating an empty string with the right words based on that. Which, to be
There. There.
Back, which, to be fair, is more scalable than the if-else process that people usually gravitate to. I also wrote this program that draws a triangle of a specific length given the user's request. It was fun, but the code was not easy to write. I mean, this would be difficult to write in a non-Pony programmer language, but one thing about FIM++ is that it doesn't support printing things to the output without doing a new line. So in order to draw the triangle at a certain size, I had to create a nightmarish abomination of string concatenations to get what I needed. Not exactly super zen. By the way, when I'm complaining or pointing out things missing from this language, I don't mean to show any disrespect to the people involved in its development. It's a joke language. It was made as a joke. It's not a big deal. It's kind of crazy how much this language can actually do. It's fully Turing complete, and some of the example programs written really prove it. The online interpreter I mentioned earlier has a few example programs to show the language in action, like a bubble sort and quicksort implementation. They even have a fully functioning brainfuck interpreter. I'm not joking, and the source code is immaculately pony-packed. So, if you ever want to write something in brainfuck, and then have it interpreted in FIM++, and then have the FIM++ be interpreted by C#, your days of dreaming have come to an end. Anyway, I think that's enough pony programming for today. I don't think this video needs to be a full-on tutorial. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this kind of video is a little bit out of my zone of expertise, but given that I'm going to school for this stuff, I thought it'd be fun to try. Thanks to all the people who helped create this awesome language, and also thanks to the people who documented it in its history. I wouldn't be making this video today without you. I barely scratched the surface of all the cool features FIM++ has to offer in this video. So for those of you who found
Yeah, I think, yeah, that game is dead. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed that game night, and I'll see you in the next one. GG, my dudes.